You ever wonder why the price of that flight you've been eyeing or a gadget you want from overseas just changes? It seems random, right? Well, it's not. There's this fascinating, powerful dance happening all the time between a country's money and its interest rates. So let's dive in and unpack how these huge global forces actually shape the money in your pocket.
I mean, really, think about it. How can a bunch of economists making a decision in, say, Washington, D.C., suddenly make your dream vacation to Paris cheaper or way more expensive? It feels like those two things shouldn't be connected, but they absolutely are. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it all works.
All right, so where do we start? The answer begins with a term we hear all the time on the news, but maybe don't connect to our travel plans: interest rates. Turns out they're the secret engine driving a lot of these changes.
So at its core, an interest rate is just the cost of borrowing money. That's it. A country's central bank, like the Federal Reserve here in the US, uses this rate as its main tool. It's like a gas pedal and a brake for the economy, helping them control their currency and keep things on track.
Okay, so here's how it works step by step. When a central bank decides to raise interest rates, it suddenly becomes way more attractive to save money in that country. You get a better return, right? Well, foreign investors, who are always looking for the best return on their cash, see this and they start buying up that country's currency so they can invest. All that new demand makes the currency more valuable or stronger compared to other currencies.
And honestly, it's super intuitive when you think about it. If your bank offered you, say, 5% interest on your savings, but the one across the street only offered 1%, where are you going to put your money? It's a no-brainer. Big-time global money works the exact same way. It flows to where it can get the biggest return.
But wait, there's another really important piece to this puzzle we have to talk about: inflation. See, central banks aren't just trying to attract foreign cash. They're also fighting a constant battle on the home front. And this is where things get really interesting. So what's so fascinating is that raising interest rates has these two massive effects that usually point in the same direction. On one hand, it makes borrowing money more expensive for everyone, which cools down spending and helps fight inflation. And a currency that actually holds its value is, more attractive. At the same time, like we just said, those high rates are a magnet for foreign investment. So you've got two powerful forces, both creating huge demand for the currency, which pushes its value way up.
Okay, so all of this, it leads us to this massive fundamental problem in global economics. It's a dilemma that every single country has to deal with, from the tiniest island nation to the biggest superpower. They call it the impossible trinity.
And the core idea behind it is actually pretty simple but incredibly powerful. When you're managing your economy on the world stage, you just can't have it all. You're forced to choose. Here's the wish list. These are the three things every country would absolutely love to have. First, a nice, stable exchange rate, which makes trade and investment predictable. Second, the free movement of money in and out, no restrictions, which investors love. And third, the power to set your own interest rates to handle your own problems, like fighting a recession.
And this triangle shows the choice perfectly. A country can pick any side of the triangle and get the two things on the corners of that side. But you have to give up the one in the corner you didn't pick. You can pick a side, but you can never, ever have the whole triangle.
As Nobel-winning economist Paul Krugman famously put it, it's a stark choice. A country must pick 2 out of 3. That's it. History is littered with financial crises caused by countries that tried to have it all.
So what do these choices actually look like in the real world? Let's break down the 3 paths that a country can go down.
Okay, path A. This is the Eurozone model. Countries like Germany, France, Italy, they chose a perfectly stable exchange rate. It's called the euro. And they let money move freely between them. So what did they give up? The power to set their own interest rates. That job now belongs to the European Central Bank.
Now, path B. This is the path that most big economies, like the US and the UK, are on today. They want control over their own interest rates, and they want money to flow freely. The trade-off? They have to let their currency's value just float, going up and down based on whatever the market decides. They choose domestic control over international stability.
And finally, there's path C. This path is all about control, at the expense of being open. China, for a long time, went this route. They controlled their exchange rate and their interest rates. But to pull that off, they had to give up the free movement of money. They used something called capital controls, basically rules that put up a wall to stop money from flowing in and out too easily.
So, theory is one thing. But what happens when a country makes the wrong choice? Or when a choice that seemed right becomes a total disaster? For that, let's look at the powerful
and frankly, cautionary tale of Argentina.
So picture this. It's 1991. Argentina is being destroyed by hyperinflation. So they do something radical. They legally fix their currency, the peso, 1-to-1 with the US dollar, an extreme version of Path A. And at first, it was a huge success. But then the US dollar started getting stronger around the world, and because the peso was shackled to it, Argentina's currency became ridiculously overvalued. It crushed their economy and led to a total catastrophic collapse.
Just look at these numbers. You can see why they took the gamble. In 1989, inflation was over 3,000%. I mean, can you even imagine that? By 1994, after they fixed the peso to the dollar, it was under 0.5%. The policy worked spectacularly. It brought back stability.
But this is the brutal cost of that unbreakable link. By 2002, their economy was shrinking by almost 11%. When they were finally forced to break the link, the peso collapsed and inflation shot right back up. Argentina learned, the hard way, that when you give up control of your own monetary policy, you become incredibly vulnerable to whatever's happening in the country you tied yourself to.
So, after all that, the theory, the real-world consequences, what's the big takeaway here? It all points to one single, inescapable conclusion about how the global economy really works.
There is no magic formula. There's no perfect answer. Every single choice on that triangle comes with a cost, a sacrifice. Economic policy isn't about finding a perfect solution that makes everyone happy. It's about choosing the least bad trade-off for your country, for right now. It is a constant, difficult, global balancing act.
And that brings it all right back to you. The next time you see a headline about the Fed or the Bank of England or any central bank changing interest rates, you'll know what's really going on. It's not some dry, technical decision. It's a reflection of a huge fundamental choice they're making in this global balancing act. So which path do you think your country is on?